What's going on, everybody? Coach Benjamin, Foundations Baseball Development. Thank you for clicking on the video. Thanks for watching and all of that good stuff. Today, I just had this thought. I've got my notes here again. My I always say that I coach people to be brilliant in the basics when it comes to baseball. And I sort of wanted to get down to the basics of how I coach the game and what my philosophies are when it comes to the game, and kind of break that down, because I've had a lot of really good coaches throughout my time playing baseball. I've had some not so great coaches, and I've learned a lot from different leaders, different coaches, different mentors. And all of that kind of comes into the way I coach the game. So as you can see, I've got my notes so I don't get too off track. So let's get into it. First thing is mentality. Mentality. You've got to want to play the game. You've got to want to learn to get better. And it starts with having a positive mentality. I recently had a session, and I know you guys got stuff going on off the field. Maybe you got a bad grade on a test, or had a fight with a sibling, or just something didn't go your way. I try to coach that when you get between the lines of a baseball field and we're working together, that's our whole universe right there. Everything else, got to learn to kind of shake it off and bring back that positive mental attitude. Because for me, we're playing baseball. That's my favorite place to be. Just playing catch, hitting some balls, fielding grounders, pitching. That's my favorite place to be. So it's kind of easy for me to have a positive mental attitude when it comes to baseball, when it comes to actually doing that activity. There's a lot of other stuff in my life that I do that I don't really enjoy doing, but that's one thing I can always look forward to. So that's the first thing. That's where I start coaching. Try to develop that positive mental attitude. The second part of the mentality aspect, understanding failure. Understand that it's going to happen on a baseball field whenever you're at the plate. Errors happen in the field. Pitchers don't always strike everyone out, and sometimes they get mashed and taken deep, and especially in high pressure situations at the high levels. Failure happens. I've mentioned it in other videos that a 70% failure rate at the Hall of Fame, or at the plate, gets you into the Hall of Fame. It means you're an elite hitter if you fail 70% of your at-bats. That's just a crazy statistic that makes baseball really, really special. If you want to know more about what makes baseball special, I'll link the video in the description. And another part of the mental game has to do with pressure. If you find yourself in a lot of pressure situations when it comes to baseball. The whole, when I was a kid, I would always be taking reps off a tee or in BP, and you always put yourself in the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, down by 3, bases loaded. What are you gonna do? That's about the highest pressure situation you can imagine. But two things to remember is that coal becomes diamonds under pressure. So you can either be crushed or you can thrive on that pressure and you can shine. and learning how to deal with that pressure and realizing that it's such a huge part of the game and what makes the game great and amazing. That I really believe that helps you thrive in those pressure situations and 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 have success in more pressure situations rather than when everything's like calm and relaxed and easy. Um, so but let me know what you think about that, or a high pressure situation that you've found yourself in, whether you either on the baseball field or, or just in general in life. Um, so that's the mental part of it. That's sort of the the very basics. There's other things that go into that for mentality, for the mentality piece of how I coach. But we're gonna move on to the next part, and that's the fundamentals. Fundamentals, brilliant in the basics. A lot of you know that's kind of my motto, kind of why I named the company Foundations, because that's what we start with, the basics. We start and end with the basics. Brilliant in the basics. Throwing, for instance, we start with the proper mechanics. And there's a few reasons we do that. Number one is safety, because I don't want you to be able to throw a ball just for our session or for the next season coming up. I want you to be able to throw a baseball effectively for the next 20 seasons coming up. Um, and and I want you to be able to throw it effectively for the next. Did I just repeat myself? I might have just repeated myself. If I did, I'm sorry. Um, but so I always coach mechanics and proper form, proper mechanics, the proper way to throw a baseball. Now some guys that come, never thrown a baseball before, so we're starting from scratch, starting from ground zero, and a lot of those guys have become very very effective. Have very natural strong arms. Rishi, you got a great strong arm, and we've developed his mechanics to where I know he can throw a baseball safely and throw it a very long way for a long time, and he can throw it hard. So the proof is in the pudding. Mechanics are huge. That's the first fundamental that I kind of coach, because I mean, how do you warm up for baseball? You might get your heart rate up, do some calisthenics, do some running, but then you're playing catch, getting that arm loose. So really important to nail our mechanics, execute them correctly. After that, we're going to work on some basic fielding skills. Glove work. Can we catch a ball? Can we catch a ground ball? Are we fielding it properly? And then hitting. Hitting goes back to mechanics. We're going to work on those fundamental mechanics. So, again, it depends on what level you're at, but the basic principles of hitting remain the same. And when we execute the fundamental mechanics at such a and when we're experts, when we master them, then you can hit anything, and it's really cool to see it develop. I love seeing the breakthroughs of hitting. A couple of my guys have just gotten really really good and executed, and it's because we work on the very most basic techniques for hitting, for everything I do. Brilliant in the basics. It's my whole philosophy. So that's the fundamentals piece that I wrote down here. The third thing, and might be the most important thing for me, is passion. I want to grow the game. I want to share the love of the game, because I've always loved baseball. I've always been a baseball fan. I've always been just absolutely loved the game, and I want to coach in a way that comes through and that is passed on to younger kids, to the younger generation. A few ways to show that, number one, we leave it all in the field. We work really, really hard in practice, and we leave it all on the field when it comes to game time. Hey, Micah, shout out. Mom told me you left it all out there. Your mom told me you left it all out there. Won a tournament this weekend, first of the year. Great job, buddy. 3 for 6 in that tournament. That's a 500 average. That's awesome. When you leave it all on the field, you're gonna have fun. If you can look at your coach, your teammates, whoever it is, you can look them in the eye and honestly tell them you left it all out there. You gave everything you had. Win or lose, you're gonna have a great time. So that's all I've got. I think this is the best sport in the world, the greatest game ever invented, and I made a video for that too. But thanks for tuning in. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out the merch store. Got some new designs up there, and if you guys want to check them out, I'd appreciate it. Until next time, how do you build a house? Got to start with a foundation.